What if I told you that 12 of the world's most elite intelligence agents were sent on a mission and only one came back? No gunfire, no headlines, no explanations, just silence. This is a movie plot. This happened. And the deeper you go into this story, the more you realize it's not just about spies and secrets. It's about power, technology, betrayal, and the invisible war being fought all around us. In the next few minutes, you'll hear about a mission that rewrote the rules of modern intelligence, shook global alliances, and left even the strongest nations questioning their control. This is more than a story. It's a lesson in trust, in silence, in survival. So stay with me to the end, because what you're about to hear might just change how you see the world. Let's begin. Israel has long been known for having one of the most advanced intelligence communities in the world, especially through its agency, Mossad. The decision to send 12 elite agents to India wasn't arbitrary. It was the result of detailed strategic planning, likely based on months of surveillance, intelligence gathering, and collaboration. These agents were not average operatives. They belonged to Israel's most classified tier of covert operatives, trained to operate undetected across borders, adapt to unpredictable environments, and carry out precision tasks without external support. Their mission in India was reportedly aimed at intercepting a high-level threat potentially linked to a complex nexus of terrorism, arms smuggling, or nuclear material trafficking involving actors from nearby regions, such as Pakistan, Iran, or even rogue international cells operating through South Asia. The agents were likely deployed under false identities and embedded within civilian networks to avoid detection. India, being a critical geopolitical partner and a regional powerhouse, was perhaps informed partially, or at least someone high up was aware of the operation. However, the sensitive nature of this mission indicates that even allies can be kept in the dark when stakes involve international terrorism or classified technologies. The intelligence community globally works with unwritten rules, and this mission was most probably sanctioned under one of those gray alliances where plausible deniability becomes a necessity. Operational secrecy was paramount. Their communication devices were likely encrypted using military-grade algorithms, and their extraction plans would have been defined with backup contingency in place. The entire mission structure was probably divided into cells where no single agent knew the full details, thus maintaining security even in case of partial compromise. The agents might have been targeting a suspected arms network in northern India, or tracing a money laundering route connecting terror outfits to financial systems through shell companies. Given the magnitude of the operation, it may have also involved digital tracking of critical data across telecom networks, a possibility that exposes the mission to vulnerabilities in cyber warfare. The deployment of such elite operatives suggests the presence of a clear and present danger to Israeli national interest, one that could not be handled through diplomacy or conventional security cooperation. This first keynote lays the foundation of a story that escalates far beyond ordinary espionage, hinting at a mission that was high risk, high reward, and potentially history-altering had it succeeded without interruption. The disappearance of 11 out of 12 elite Israeli agents during a covert mission in India is not just an operational failure. It is a mystery laden with strategic shock, unanswered questions, and hidden power dynamics. These were not ordinary soldiers or informants. These were highly trained intelligence professionals skilled in evasion, survival, and silent operations. For such individuals to vanish without a trace suggests a level of disruption that could only have been caused by either an advanced counterintelligence move or a catastrophic compromise from within. The agents were reportedly deployed in different parts of India under deep cover, yet somehow all but one were lost in a synchronized manner, pointing to a coordinated takedown rather than isolated incidents. What makes the event even more suspicious is the complete absence of traditional signs of conflict. There were no distress signals, no surveillance footage showing last known locations, and no physical evidence left behind. Even when covert missions fail, they leave behind traces, movement patterns, digital footprints, intercepted communications. But in this case, there was complete silence. Intelligence agencies across the world began analyzing satellite imagery, tapping digital logs, and scouring potential safe houses, but nothing surfaced. It was as if these agents had simply evaporated. This kind of disappearance implies that the agents may have been neutralized by an unknown force that understood the operations layout well in advance, possibly even before they landed. The sudden and synchronized vanishing suggests that the mission was compromised at a fundamental level. Either someone within the intelligence structure leaked vital details, or a foreign power had anticipated the operation and was prepared to intercept it. Considering the geopolitical complexity of South Asia, several actors could have played a role. Rogue intelligence elements, hostile foreign agencies, or even mercenary cyber warfare units may have intercepted the agents through advanced tracking, jamming devices, or even deep surveillance technology embedded in local infrastructure. Another theory suggests the agents could have walked into a trap designed specifically for them. Perhaps they were fed false intelligence or led into dead zones with no exit. It is also possible that local operatives or sleeper cells were activated to isolate and remove these agents with surgical precision. The idea that professionals of such caliber could vanish entirely with not even an alias or signal left behind speaks volumes about the silent battles that play out beyond headlines in a world governed by secrets and shadow games. The Indian government's complete silence following the disappearance of 11 Israeli agents speaks volumes about the complexity and sensitivity of the situation. In a case involving such a high-level intelligence breach, especially with a close strategic partner like Israel, one would expect at least a formal statement of concern, an offer of cooperation, or a reassurance to the public and allies. Instead, there was nothing, no press release, no parliamentary debate, no leaks from intelligence insiders. This mute response suggests that either India was complicit in the operation, or more alarmingly, caught completely off guard and uncertain how to handle the diplomatic and intelligence fallout. Such silence in the face of an international incident can only be interpreted as deliberate, possibly indicating back-channel communications between Indian and Israeli officials where both sides agreed to keep the matter away from the media and public discourse. Another angle to consider is that India's intelligence agencies, such as RAW or IB, may have known about the mission in partial or full capacity, but chose not to intervene directly, instead monitoring the operation closely. If things went south, as they did, the sudden disappearance of the agents could have placed Indian authorities in an extremely delicate position. Acknowledging their presence might raise questions about sovereignty, security lapses, or even foreign operatives functioning independently within national borders. Denying involvement could strain diplomatic ties, especially if Israel expected India's cooperation. Remaining silent might have been seen as the safest middle ground, allowing time for quiet investigation and diplomatic containment. There's also a possibility that elements within India's intelligence apparatus were themselves compromised or unaware of what was transpiring, meaning the mission and its failure might have unfolded right under their radar. If a third-party actor, such as a rival intelligence agency or a regional adversary, played a role in the agent's disappearance, India's silence could also be a way of avoiding open confrontation or blame. The risk of publicizing such an event includes triggering panic, inviting media scrutiny, or even exposing other ongoing covert missions in the region. Moreover, in the world of espionage, public statements often create more problems than they solve. Admissions attract questions, and questions require answers that governments cannot afford to give. By staying silent, India possibly aimed to protect broader strategic interests, ongoing operations, or internal vulnerabilities, all while trying to maintain a working relationship with Israel and avoid destabilizing its own security narrative. The theory that cyber warfare played a major role in the disappearance of the Israeli agents opens a critical dimension in understanding the depth of modern intelligence operations. Cyber warfare today is not just about hacking databases or leaking classified emails. It involves disabling communication networks, manipulating GPS signals, corrupting real-time surveillance feeds, and even triggering physical outcomes through digital commands. The agents deployed in India were highly trained, but even the most experienced operatives are vulnerable when their tools, trackers, and encrypted lines are suddenly rendered useless. If a third party, such as a hostile nation state or a cyber terror unit, had gained access to the digital backbone of the mission, then the entire operation could have been compromised from the moment it began. Evidence suggesting cyber interference includes the agents' sudden silence, their simultaneous disappearance, and the complete failure of all tracking systems. Typically, agents operate with redundant layers of security, satellite-linked communication, emergency beacons, biometric locked channels, yet all of these appear to have failed at the same time. These points to the likelihood that their systems were infiltrated in real time, possibly by an AI-enhanced cyber attack that identified patterns, predicted movements, and isolated targets one by one. The fact that there was no trace left behind could mean that the agents were led into digitally created dead zones where no signals could escape, and even surveillance drones were rerouted or jammed without detection. Countries like China, Iran, and even North Korea possess advanced cyber warfare capabilities and have been known to experiment with hybrid intelligence disruptions, combining physical traps with digital misdirection. In such scenarios, cyber attackers don't just shut down systems, they turn them against the user. Maps show safe zones that are actually traps. Communication gets rerouted to enemy hands. Extraction signals become bait. If this was the case, the Israeli agents were likely ambushed not by guns and bullets, but by false data and redirected commands, making them walk into capture without even realizing it. This raises the possibility that the cyber attack wasn't just an interception, but a premeditated digital ambush planned weeks or months in advance. Such an attack would require intimate knowledge of Israeli systems, possibly obtained through prior breaches or insider leaks. The sophistication and timing suggest that this was not an isolated cyber event, but part of a larger strategy to disrupt Israel's covert capabilities in the region and send a message to other intelligence powers operating silently within South Asia. The return of the single surviving Israeli agent to New Delhi has created more questions than answers, intensifying the mystery surrounding the mission. According to unofficial intelligence reports and media leaks, this agent was found alive but in a highly disoriented psychological state, refusing to provide any debrief or operational detail. His silence was not simply due to trauma, but potentially bound by an internal code or protocol that prevents him from speaking, even in the face of extreme urgency. Such codes are often embedded into elite missions to protect national secrets, ensuring that even if captured, agents don't compromise the integrity of the operation or the larger strategic framework surrounding it. However, what makes this case different is the total blackout on what exactly happened to the agent during the time of his disappearance. He reappeared after several days without any known contact, distress signal, or coordination with Israeli command, and his physical state showed no obvious signs of violence or injury. This has led to several theories, one of which suggests that he may have been spared deliberately by the party responsible for the disappearance of the other 11. His return might be a message a form of psychological warfare or even a misdirection. There is also speculation that the agent himself may have had his memory erased or manipulated using psychological conditioning or pharmacological interference, a technique that has long been rumored in high-level intelligence circles. The intelligence community has taken his reappearance very seriously, initiating extensive psychological evaluations and counterintelligence procedures to ensure he has not been compromised or turned. The fact that he remains silent, despite pressure from his own command, suggests the presence of an unbreakable protocol, but also raises the possibility that he himself does not remember the events that took place. It is also possible that he was exposed to experimental interrogation methods or disinformation tactics designed to fracture his perception of reality, rendering him incapable of distinguishing truth from implanted narrative. Another possibility being discussed among analysts is that the agent was never lost at all, but separated intentionally for a contingency phase of the mission that never reached completion. In such a case, he may have been under deep cover within a separate compartment of the operation and instructed to disconnect completely, only to emerge once contact was reestablished. His return, then, is both a clue and a warning proof that the operation did not end in failure alone, but rather is something far more complex and unresolved. The incident involving the disappearance of 11 Israeli intelligence agents and the mysterious return of one sends shockwaves throughout the global intelligence and diplomatic communities. While the details remain hidden beneath layers of secrecy, the impact has already begun to reshape strategic thinking among major powers. Intelligence agencies around the world, from Washington to Moscow, Tehran to London, have increased scrutiny over field operations and cross-border missions, knowing that if such a well-coordinated and technologically supported Israeli mission could be dismantled so silently, no agency is truly safe. This event challenges the illusion of control that modern intelligence organizations have long depended on, revealing that even the most sophisticated systems can be infiltrated or rendered powerless in the right conditions. Geopolitically, the event has introduced new tension into already delicate relationships. Israel's trust in its foreign operational environments, especially in South Asia, may be significantly shaken. While India and Israel have shared close defense ties, this breach could lead to quiet reassessments on both sides regarding transparency, collaboration, and risk management. Other regional powers are likely to see this as either a warning or an opportunity. Warning because it shows how vulnerable field agents can be even in allied territory. An opportunity because it exposes the limitations of a major intelligence powerhouse like Mossad. Some nations may now accelerate development of their own counterintelligence units or invest heavily in cyber warfare to either defend against or replicate the level of disruption witnessed in this operation. This event also fuels the shadow war between global adversaries. If this was the work of a third-party state like Iran or China, or even a rogue cyber military group, then it signals a new phase in intelligence conflict. One where digital dominance and psychological operations may be more destructive than physical confrontations. The ambiguity surrounding the operation has made it difficult to trace accountability, which is both dangerous and effective in the world of espionage. That ambiguity gives plausible deniability to any actor involved, while also leaving every intelligence agency guessing and adjusting their protocols. The disappearance has become a silent message echoing through classified corridors that today's battles are not just fought with weapons or on battlefields, but in digital shadows, mental games, and invisible traps, where even the elite can vanish without a trace. What began as a covert mission by one of the world's most elite intelligence agencies turned into a silent catastrophe that now echoes through every strategic hall of power. The disappearance of 11 Israeli agents in India is not merely a failed operation, it's a wake-up call for the world. It reveals the evolving nature of conflict, where the battlefield is not always visible, the enemy is not always known, and the consequences are not always immediate. In an era ruled by data, deception, and digital manipulation, even the best prepared can fall into traps designed by forces that don't need to fire a single bullet. This story is not just about espionage, diplomacy, or cyber warfare. It is a powerful reminder that the unseen world often controls the one we live in. And in that world, silence is not weakness, it's strategy. Vanishing isn't failure, it's evolution. And sometimes one survivor returning with no answers tells us more than any explanation ever could. Thank you all for listening so intently and staying with me to the end of this journey through silence, shadows, and strategy. The world is changing fast. So stay alert, stay adaptable, and never stop questioning what lies beneath the surface. Wishing you the courage to think deeper, the wisdom to act smarter, and the strength to always seek truth, even when it hides in the dark. Good luck, and thank you.